I do maintain, though, and I apologize for kind of like being a bit of a stereotype on this, but I really do think capitalism has the potential to produce undemocratic outcomes worse than any other authoritarian government, purely for the reason that capitalism doesn't have a cap on the power you can accrue. If you are Kim Jong-un, you are at the top of North Korea. If you're a monarch, you are at the head of the monarchy. Your power is limited by the finite nature of your human governance. But under capitalism, the number can always go up. Your power is pretty directly proportional to the wealth that you have, the property you own, your assets, your resources. It's not divinely ordained. Elon Musk can always be wealthier. Kim Jong-un can't be any more the leader of North Korea. I think that logic, that appeal towards infinite growth, is potentially much more destructive in the long run. He can technically make North Korea larger. True, but that he still remains as much the leader of North Korea. The mechanism by which you determine a person's hierarchy in capitalism is unbound on the upper end, whereas in other systems traditionally it is not. You are only ever the monarch, the leader, the emperor, the pharaoh, whereas under capitalism, like, there is always a drive to consume and to acquire and to consolidate, completely untethered to reality. There's no material reason for a person to want or need to be a trillionaire, no more so than there is for them to want or need to be a billionaire. There's no rational explanation for this allocation of wealth. If you imagined it as a physical commodity rather than abstract wealth, like how many bananas a monkey accumulates, there's no reason why a monkey would want a trillion bananas over a billion except mental illness. You would say there was something wrong with the monkey. Why would a monkey, what process biologically, what Darwinian incentive mechanism is driving one to own 1 trillion bananas when you couldn't eat a billion or a million or even 1,000? It's just a fault in the brain. Capitalism isn't a natural system. We constructed it, and we constructed it with no upper bound. We've created priorities that are materially unachievable. Whereas being a king is achievable, being an emperor is achievable. There's an endpoint. You can sit back on your throne and look and survey your lands and feel contented that you've reached the top. Of course, there have been leaders who have continued to acquire more and more after becoming, their nation's like highest official. Usually these are the people that bring down empires, right? Like people who are not satisfied merely with being king or pope or emperor or whatever else, the ones that continue to war and consolidate, typically this is what leads to burnout. This is what leads to like a flash in the pan, expansionary process followed by corruption, decadence, and so on and so forth. You take a stable system and then you introduce instability due to a person's overambition. The problem is that capitalism doesn't even need an ambitious leader. I don't think being a capitalist necessarily makes you ambitious. I don't think Elon is ambitious. He spends all of his day whining on Twitter about how like the Odyssey is botting their fucking ticket numbers or something. I don't think he's particularly ambitious. I think it's a process that compels from people the outcome that would in another era require ambition. You can be lazy and be a billionaire or a trillionaire. It's basically just like, speculative investment, real estate, sitting on your properties, leveraging your assets to create debt. It's not really like you're not doing anything, right? It's basically just the money men you hire moving your assets around, and it just grows naturally. Every billionaire now is wealthier than they were 10 years ago. Like the total wealth at the upper end has just exploded in the past 10 years. Why? Because they're ambitious? No, I just think it's designed that way. This incentive structure ultimately, I think, is more destructive than any other form of authoritarianism. It's totally unbound. It's unconstrained. It's meaningless. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just rambling. I'm rambling right now. Um, totally illiberal. Totally illiberal. The energy department is insane. So this would be an example of something that I think could only be said under, well, hold on. I want to moderate my language a little bit. Not something that could only be said under capitalism, but this is the kind of irrational behavior that I think is incentivized by a total deference to capital with no respect for reality whatsoever. New, U.S. Energy Department says oil reserve can run far lower than the industry assumed. This is unbelievably dangerous. No, it cannot. The expected constraints on the limits of our oil reserve are very well established and have already been tested multiple times over the past couple decades. They're playing chicken with God. Exactly. That's a phenomenal way of putting it. There is absolutely no reason to do or say this if you're even remotely interested in the preservation of the American empire. You are risking genuine collapse that will benefit no one, including yourselves. But the reason they're doing this is because they don't want to put any constraints whatsoever on capital. They don't want to do anything, demand destruction, rationing. They don't want to do anything to manage our consumption of petroleum products. They don't want to do anything to admit that Trump has lost. They are bound by a set of irrational expectations that are causing them to do things that hurt them. This is, in the long run, more dangerous than a authentically self-interested authoritarian. The true operational minimum set by quote-unquote cavern mechanics is roughly 70 million barrels. We will never reach 70 million barrels. The caves will collapse by then. 70 million barrels. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, we can actually draw it down to negative levels. Everything's fake. Everything's a speculative investment. Who cares? You can just create more money, right? Oil is like money. No. I'm losing my mind. It's sweaty in here. It's sweaty. It's sweaty, and I'm warm. What do you think was the specialty of using Trump as the face of this? Trump is a gift to the capital class because everything that's about to happen to the planet can be blamed on his narcissism rather than the inevitable, inexorable logic of the system that propped him up. This all would have happened with Democrats at the head. Make no mistake. And it is not because they are liberals, but because they are not. Disappointing but unsurprising. Oh, right. Andy Burnham's been sworn in as prime minister. Approve the use of British military bases for the select U.S. strike. Not surprising. He's also a Zionist slave. Or whatever you prefer, an agent of capital, literally like Labor Friends of Israel, part of the group that undermined Corbyn's rule and deliberately spread lies about anti-Semitism within the party because they would rather the Tories win than Corbyn lead the Labor Party. Yeah, no, dead country, etc., etc. There is only one meaningful metric for a person's political viability in the year of our Lord 2026 and their ability to pull us out of this wretch, and it's, are they an ally of capital, are they not? That is it. That's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter what a person believes, how progressive they are or are not, though there's certainly a correlation between progressivism and being anti-capital. Deference to capital is the one great indicator, no matter what, that you will do nothing to pull us out of the death spiral. Of course, Andy Burnham, who is a loyal slave to capital, would not do anything to change that fact. He said first play of visit as PM is Israel. That's the first thing that came out of his mouth. Really? Was that really the first thing he said? Andy Burnham, Israel. Did he really? Yeah. Oh, you mean from a month ago? I thought you meant he said this in his speech, his acceptance speech. Yes, he did say Israel would be his first overseas visit as UK PM if elected. Remember, it has nothing to do with Israel itself or Judaism and has everything to do with absolute deference to capital, which is why Zionists in America and the United Kingdom have only ever advocated for the removal of our civil rights and our liberties rather than their expansion. Even though historically Jews have been some of the best beneficiaries of progressive political policies, like, obviously, right? Jews historically have been a targeted minority. Progressive political policies benefit them disproportionately because they're a minority group. Zionism is only ever invoked in the name of restricting people's rights. There are no Zionist politicians who are using Zionism as a tool to advocate for an expansion of your civil liberties. Only the opposite. It will only ever be used to censor you, to put you in court for libel or slander, to rob you of your job and education. There are no exceptions to this. Zionism is not and cannot be a liberatory force. You seem upset today. Have I said anything incorrect in the past 60 seconds? Why is capital so focused / intertwined with Israel? Because the MIC? Partly because of the MIC, but also because capital needed a human face. Jews are a unique group in the sense that you can appeal to their defense from both sides. If you are right-wing, you defend Israel because you're an evangelical, because you're fighting against the Muslims. But if you're left-wing, you can defend the purported needs of Jewish people, as if Jewish people benefit from an ongoing slaughter in the Middle East. You can defend them from a progressive perspective because they're a marginalized minority. That is the point. The point is that Jewish people are a wedge. They are a group you can defend from both angles, therefore giving capital a human face that appeals to everyone. The billionaires would not have gotten this far if every time they defended their interest, they had to advocate for it publicly and straight-facedly. Peter Thiel literally said tech as an alternative to politics. Rather than convincing people that you're in the right, you use tech to suppress them and get what you want anyway. They don't actually care about Jewish people, of course. It's going to lead to immeasurable harm to the Jewish community, has already, will continue to, but they don't care.